What up, y'all? Manasseh here, and welcome to episode 2 of Mintermission. I know it's been a minute since the last time I've posted on this channel, but hey, your boy's been busy, and life happens. But I am going to try to post more consistently on my YouTube page. But I have been making some content on my TikTok account, so if you'd like to see some of those vids, the link is in the description down below. And if you have Letterboxd, please follow me on Letterboxd. The link will also be available down there. So for this episode, I'm going to review the latest comedy drama action thriller called One Battle After Another. This is a movie written and directed by Paul Thomas Anderson, PTA for short, and it stars Leonardo DiCaprio, Benicio del Toro, Sean Penn, Chase Infinity, Tiana Taylor, and Regina Hall. Here's a short plot synopsis of the film. So Bob is a washed-up revolutionary who lives in a state of stoned paranoia, surviving off-grid with his spirited and self-reliant daughter, Willa. When his evil nemesis resurfaces and Willa goes missing, the former radical scrambles to find her as both father and daughter battle the consequences of their pasts. So before I get into my thoughts on the movie, I did want to preface by saying that I'm typically not the biggest fan of Paul Thomas Anderson's work. While I do acknowledge that he's one of the best and most prestigious auteurs in Hollywood, I do find his catalog to be quite inconsistent as far as quality. The films that I enjoyed from him the most are There Will Be Blood and Punch Drunk Love, and there are ones that I like but don't necessarily love, and those would be The Master and Boogie Nights. But everything else from his filmography hasn't really been on my wavelength. Films like Magnolia, Licorice Pizza, Inherent Vice, and Phantom Thread. So overall, it's been a very mixed bag for me when it came to my enjoyment from his movies. But when the trailers dropped for One Battle After Another, it did catch my attention. It looked like something that would be on my wavelength. And also the fact that Leo was starring in it was pretty enticing for me, not gonna lie. And thankfully, I ended up loving this movie. This is without a doubt one of my favorites of this year, probably in my top 3. I'll have to reorganize my list just to be sure. But no, this movie's incredible. It's really, really good. It's a movie that's so stressful, which is funny because the trailers make it seem lighthearted and fun, which it still is, but it kept me at the edge of my seat from beginning to end. It kind of reminded me of Uncut Gems, where it's entertaining, but yet it just makes you anxious, and your anxiety level is through the roof from the minute that movie starts till the end. So based on that, it did give me some Uncut Gems vibes. And it puts you in these high stress situations that just don't stop going. But it's balanced with sprinkles of humor added to the dialogue from some of the characters. So it had a nice balance. It wasn't just complete stress all the way. And the runtime for this movie is almost 3 hours. It's exactly 2 hours and 50 minutes. But I didn't feel the runtime. There was one scene where it did drag a bit for me, but I'll get into it later in the review. But for the most part, the runtime breezed by for me. Thankfully, that wasn't an issue. But on to the story. So the main protagonist of this film is Bob, who was played by Leo DiCaprio, and he was absolutely stellar in this role, which shouldn't be a surprise. The man is great at everything. He's one of the greatest actors of all time. And his character, Bob, is a member of the revolutionary group called the French 75. And he's someone who's very frantic and paranoid and is always expecting the worst to happen, not just to himself, but also to his daughter, Willa. And it leads to some great comedic moments that just made me laugh out loud. Leo's frantic energy in this is very compelling to watch. And another major standout is Sean Penn. He plays the main antagonist called Lockjaw. He stole the show for me. He gave the best performance in this film. And I really need to watch more of Sean Penn's work. I've seen some of it when I was younger, but after watching this, I think I need to go down a Sean Penn rabbit hole because this guy is unbelievable. Like, they need to give this man an Oscar immediately I don't think this is an exaggeration, but this might be the best villainous performance I've seen since Hans Landa from Inglourious Bastards. That's how good Sean Penn is. And in this movie, he's the one that's chasing after Bob and Willa and trying to bring them to justice, but also for his own personal reasons, which I'm not going to get into spoilers in this movie. You'll just have to go see it and you'll understand. And just from a filmmaking perspective, Paul Thomas Anderson directed the hell out of this film. And it reminded me of some of his earlier work that I enjoyed. There's one sequence in particular where a character is being chased down a desert road. A lot of even with the score in the background, it just builds this tension and thrill to the film. And the score for this movie is incredible. I think his name is Johnny Greenwood, who did the music. As great as that desert road sequence was, that was the one scene that did drag a bit for me. It could have been a little shorter, in my opinion. There was one sensitive topic that this movie tackled that I didn't expect it to, which involves illegal immigration. And it's just a crazy coincidence that this movie came out during the same month that the ICE protests were occurring and that are still happening to this day in the US, unfortunately. What's interesting, though, is that this movie wasn't favoring one side or the other, but it also wasn't being neutral with the political themes that were depicted. I'd be lying if I said that some of those themes didn't trigger me a bit in the theater room, but that's not the movie's fault. It's just unfortunate that those themes that I saw on screen mirrored our world. However, while it did have those reminders, it was still able to captivate and entertain me while still presenting these sensitive topics in a tasteful and thought-provoking way without it being too preachy. So that was another factor that I appreciated about this film. I can't speak for everyone on how they should perceive and react to those themes, because what makes movies special is that it's a form of escapism. It's an opportunity for audiences to go into a movie, enter into this fictional world, and not have to be reminded of what's going on in their life or in their reality. But some movies do the opposite of that, and it reminds you of what's happening, and it no longer becomes an escape, which can be a bummer sometimes. So yeah, those are my thoughts on One Battle After Another. I'm going to give this a 9.5 out of 10. Is it the best movie of the year? I don't know. I think I still have Sinners above it. But that could change by the end of this year. We still got other movies that I'm anticipating. Thank you guys for watching. Please make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more content. And feel free to leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. What did you think of the movie? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Let me know. Thank you.